Wake up. It's all I can really say at this point. We need to wake up. We need to acknowledge and deal with this problem that is staring us blankly in our faces and is still acting openly in front of us. And that problem is censorship. While this video isn't the first talking about censorship, and it certainly won't be the last, this might be the first video talking about it directly in Team Fortress 2. In case you're out of the loop, Team Fortress 2 updated with Scream Fortress, and within it came a bunch of Halloween crap and ultimately nothing that no one really cares about, new cosmetics and shitty, unnecessary, unusual effects and whatnot. But the thing that stuck out to me was this. The first thing in the general section. Added support for Steam text filtering for persona names and chat. This is enabled by default. You can update your settings in the advanced options dialog. You can also update your settings by opting into the Steam tab. This is the beginning of TF2's Lighchi, TF2's death by 1,000 cuts. Arguably, this isn't even the start of TF2 dying by 1,000 cuts, but rather an increase of pressure of the knife, and the wounds are going to start becoming deeper, with a general lack of care, lack of development by the creators, and a general silence from Valve, causing the community to become increasingly volatile and angry. However, this is different. This introductory of censorship is what worries me in TF2. Team Fortress 2 was one of the last video games where you could really do whatever you wanted to do and say whatever you wanted to say. And no one could stop you. I mean, sure, you could mute them if you were really pissed off at them, but the fun thing about that is that the average player is too retarded to know on how to do that. So, you could just shit up the chat and say whatever you wanted to. And a big part of the fun is shit-talking people who just can't take it. Your enemies you keep steamrolling in game, people ideologically opposed to you, children who shouldn't even be playing this game in the first place, people who are so butthurt they can't help but rage, all these types of people. And now that is gone. They are going to more than likely have the censorship feature implemented so you can't say whatever you really wanted to say to them. With that implement of censorship, it's poof, it's gone. One of the best parts of TF2, which is shit talking and messing with people, is being weeded out. I mean, it may not be dead immediately, but over time it's going to die. And this isn't even a TF2 alone issue. CSGO implemented this about half a year or so ago, and apparently Dota has implemented this for over a year now. And now TF2 has had its censorship cherry popped.
Oh, how can you say that, Big B? I mean, sure, they added it, but it's optional. You can still say whatever you want to say. It's not like your account's gonna get banned or you're gonna get punished in some way. It's just that some people aren't gonna see it. Why are you so mad about this?
Yeah, you keep telling yourself that. You do. I hope you keep saying that till the bitter end, when they inevitably do bring you to that punishment tree and they hang you from it. Sure, it may be optional now, but this is how this disgusting disease always spreads. Censorship. No matter what, this is how it always spreads. They always start small, and they always claim it won't get any bigger than this, and we should tolerate it and respect it. In TF2's case, it's probably from people who either stream on Twitch or people who are just generally sensitive fucks who they like this idea and they support it. They say how this isn't a big deal and we should just tolerate it, how we should just move on, let this thing be. And because we just don't want to see any of these mean, icky words. Just ignore it, bro. And then slowly but surely, the censorship disease spreads. And like a frog in a pot of water, you don't recognize anything. Until one day you realize you're in a pot of fucking boiling water, wondering, what the hell happened? Why am I boiling to death in 212-degree water? How did I let it get this bad? Today, you can say it, but it's just gonna be blurred out. But give it enough time. The next day, you're gonna be on a cooldown to use the chat again, and your words are gonna be replaced with something else to make sure no one sees anything awful you said. And then, after you do that, when you step out of line again, you're going to get kicked from the game. And then you're going to be forced on some sort of cooldown where you can't play casual or go into the server for a good while. And then after that, you're going to get banned, or you're going to be forced to pay some fee in order to get your account back from stepping out of line. We see this in games like Overwatch, Rainbow Six, and League, where you can't say anything bad or you could risk your account getting shit canned. And now, here it is, at the foot of TF2. What are you going to do with this information? If you've been on the internet for a good while, you've seen this creeping disease spread throughout the past decade or so. Censorship. There have been a few groups that have been pushing this for a good while, and it's just infesting all these groups and communities online. First, it was the major social networks Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, all of those websites. Then it came to lesser known websites. Then it spreads to even lesser known websites. Then to games, then to the hosting services that host said games. And the groups that have been really pushing censorship have been, the usual suspects: government bodies, corporations, people on the left of the political scale. These people, and they all have their own personal reasons or interests to do it, but the end result is always going to be the same. They want censorship. What are you going to do with this information? At the end of the day, this comes down to freedom of speech and freedom of expression. Do you truly support the concept of free speech? Most people don't. Even people who advocate for free speech don't deep down. They just don't realize it. The advocation of free speech means you advocate for the opposite side to say what they want to say. The people you disagree with and hate the most should be able to speak their mind. Most people don't want this. After all, if I know deep in my heart that I'm right, why should someone dare speak out against me? They may be spreading harmful misinformation after all. So, if you do claim for free speech and you do claim you're a free speech advocate, make sure you actually mean it, regardless of what someone might say, do, or post. What are you going to do with this information? Why should I care about what you say? Big B, you are just some dumb retard on the internet. I've heard you say and do awful things. You've said nigger before. You've said very mean and awful things to people. You've said jokes that were in extreme poor taste. Why should I care on what you say or what you do? If anything, you getting banned would be a great thing. You getting censored would be actually really good. In fact, I'm glad TF2 is implementing this because you can't harass and make fun of people who are easily upset and say what you want to say. Why should I care what you say or what you think? Well, I'm telling you because you should care. You really, really should. Because once I am deemed too extreme and radical with what I do and say, and once I'm banned, you become the next extreme. You will then be deemed too violent and too awful and too icky, and then you will be cannibalized by this disease known as censorship, and you will be censored. And when that happens, you will have no one left but yourself to blame. You will be trapped in the belly of the beast known as censorship, and you will be cannibalized by the beast in a desperate attempt to stop it from bleeding to death. What are you going to do with this information?